Rule number 5, this is probably my longest rule, but my shortest explanation. Actively build intentional, diverse, humanist spiritual communities. Regardless of what point on the political spectrum you are, I think loneliness, alienation, and just senses of loss are really driving our politics. And I think to address that, we need to explore kind of new and or experimental forms of community. So let me just take that rule of engagement and kind of break it down and look at each of the words and tell you what I mean by that. So actively build. In an ideal situation, feelings of community develop organically. And those of you watching this, maybe you've had very little community in your life, maybe you've had some, but I'm hoping that everyone watching this can at least imagine to be surrounded by people who you care about and who care about you. And whether you are already a part of that community or multiple communities or none, I think we need to be actively building those types of communities, which brings us to the second part of that, which is intentional. The kind of communities I'm envisioning, I think are not going to happen naturally or organically. I think maybe we need to pursue them and build them up. If you build it, they will come.
That's a reference to an old person movie.
The next word is diverse. The last thing that the elites of this country want to see is voluntary communities that unite people across all kinds of divides. I think we need more people who are willing to show and prove and go out of their way to build structures and times and places for people to come across these divides and demonstrate that no, love is actually more powerful than hate. And community is messy. Anytime you bring together a group of people, you will have different ideas and feelings will be hurt and people will feel left out and others will feel more invested than others and all of that, right? But I want to be part of a movement that shows the world that love beats hate and that bringing people together across these lines is a better alternative to retreating to your corners where everybody looks and acts and thinks like you. The next word is humanist. I think that people are important, that human dignity and rights and respect are important, and that we're living through a period where those kinds of ideas are becoming less and less popular. Our shared humanist has to be celebrated and fought for and really privileged in community. The next word is spiritual. So when I think of a spiritual community, I think of a community that is not tied down to a religious or spiritual dogma or teaching or anything. I'm thinking of communities with what some people have called polydoxy, right? Orthodoxy is like, this is one thing, everybody should believe that. Polydoxy is like, well, there's all kinds of beliefs you could have. What if we got together and tried to understand what other different people believe without trying to convert each other and just hearing and listening and doing this together with the common goal, common spiritual goals that we can all agree with, like becoming more loving, pursuing contentment, being empathetic, feeling at peace, being able to sit in a room with your own thoughts without completely losing your mind, right? These are things that I think all of us to some degree struggle with, and all of us agree that we would be happier people if we had these things in our lives. And when I say spirituality, that's what I mean. Environments where people have different beliefs and respect each other, but are united around the common goal of human flourishing. The last word is communities. Right now in America, if you're a person who believes in human flourishing, who thinks that pursuing inner peace and pursuing loving relationships and friendships and allyships, if you think that there is some kind of reality bigger than us, whether that's a spiritual reality or a kind of moral or ethical reality, if you believe in one or two or all of the things I just mentioned, what kind of social structures are there available for you to enter into to pursue these goals? Well, of course, there's organized religions. There are more churches and more sects and denominations of various religions and faiths in America than quite possibly anywhere on planet Earth. However, a lot of us, including myself, are just done with organized religion. We just don't want anything to do with it anymore. I think of people like Martin Luther, who, in the 1500s was just like, everything about the Catholic Church is terrible. And that's how a lot of us feel about organized religions. Again, not trying to attack anyone's beliefs. Your beliefs are your beliefs and I respect them. I'm just saying that the older I get and the more people I meet, I find so many people who care about spirituality, who care about human flourishing, who care about community, who care about developing inner peace. And there's no institution they can go to. And if they do go to those institutions, all they find is disappointment, me included. So I think more of us need to create those spaces. And I just have to believe that like-minded people across this country are either doing this right now or have done it or are about to do it. So there they are. There are my 5 rules of engagement for mentally, emotionally, spiritually preparing for a second Trump administration. I really, really, really want to hear and see what you all think of this. I'm open to criticism, I'm open to critique, I'm open to encouragement, whatever you want to say. Again, the goal of this was to spark a conversation, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what people have to say.